Martin has been a fantastic speaker, and I really appreciate what he said, because I am a networker for the last 7 years myself, with a different type of networking organization, but absolutely I back whatever he has said. And if you haven't been to a networking event with Martin or with my organization, I really urge you to make arrangements and visit, just so you have a feel of it and you know how it works. My privilege today is to talk to you about how to prepare your mindset, how to prepare yourself for success, and how to achieve success. And my good friend John Lee, who is currently a self-made millionaire working in London, he is doing lots of personal development education for many aspiring entrepreneurs. He and his business partner is saying that it is our moral duty to be wealthy. Now, you might think, why? Why should we take moral responsibility for becoming wealthy? Now, if you look at the fundamentals, and if you have read Napoleon Hill, hand up, who has read Napoleon Hill? Okay, I would really, really strongly recommend for everyone to read that. In fact, not just read it, but to study it. Because although it was written back in 1926, it was published, that book was actually written over 25 years. It's the only book that I know of that has been written for so long. And the reason for this to take such a long time, it was that Napoleon Hill was researching over 100 millionaires, self-made millionaires in America in those years. And this is what he says. Truly, the thought is a thing, but something which for many years nobody added to what Napoleon Hill said is that your thought combined with your feeling is the power. And today, if you know anything about quantum physics, it is the scientists who are dealing with quantum physics who have confirmed just recently that it is not just your mind, but is the feeling that you have in your heart that combine the power of what you can achieve. So if you can think about maybe situations that you have been before and something happened in your life and suddenly you felt so alienated, you felt like you would want to jump up right above the building. Has anyone had such a feeling before? No?
No, yes.
You're saying yes, but you are nodding your head against it. It is an amazing feeling, and when you get that feeling, that's where the power of getting what you dream about can become true. So I'm not going to be able today, in that few minutes that I have, to tell you everything about the principles, the basics of success and how to prepare yourself, how to then carry all this work out. I'm going to touch just on a few things, but I hope that what I will tell you is going to twitch something in your mind maybe, and when you go out today from here, you will be able to implement that into your own life. I'm going to touch on a few of my personal experiences, because I believe that if anyone is talking about certain principles or certain rules or systems or whatever, it's always to back it up with the story. So today, I'm going to be giving you a little bit of my story. Okay, so fundamentals. I wasn't nowhere near to the person I am here today, because I grew up in Poland in the beautiful years of the Polish communist state, where everything we were told and everything we were led to believe was given to us on a plate, and God forbid if we have talked otherwise, because if we did, it would be something which no one would really like to experience. And as an example, the reason why I left Poland was a situation where I was a teenager. I graduated from a college and I was looking forward to start my career. My plans at the time were, when I was in the grammar school, I wanted to be a solicitor, and that failed because my marks were exchanged with the marks of someone who was a child of the school director. So when my teacher, my promoter, looked at my certificate, she says, "Oh my God," she says, "you're not going to get where you want to." So my life had to change as it went. And the reason I came to UK was that when I was starting my working career, without my knowledge, during one celebration in my company, I was asked to come to the middle of the room. And suddenly I was presented with the secret police ID card, for which I never agreed to, and I never wanted to be a secret police agent in those days. So when I was standing there, I was standing like this. My face was absolutely red. It was burning. I felt like if I am in a furnace somewhere. And I closed my eyes and I said, "My God, can you please take me away from here as soon as you can?" And 6 months later, I arrived here to UK. And I had £5 in my pocket, not 20, like Martin had. So my life in England was basically something that I consider today as I had to be born again. Because when I had my first job and my English was hardly existing, I have actually angered my employer because I turned away one of his customers. And that gave me a lesson. I had to change. I had to change my approach to people. I had to change my whole attitude towards people. So I had to learn English. That was the first thing. The second thing, I had to completely forget about what I learned back home, and I had to start everything from start. And then later on things turned up in a way that I am really happy to say that I'm glad I went that route and I found myself here, because I am, you can say, born again. So the key things, in my sort of humble opinion, about getting yourself to success are this. So you have to get the fundamentals first. Without those fundamentals, you can forget about your journey to success. You have to be able to allow yourself, and you have to be able to be willing to change. And for instance, people who are my age, and probably Bob and Rob will agree with that, we also, even now, have to constantly adjust. We have to learn new things, because we have to learn the way to communicate the same way as the younger generation communicate, and even younger still, because children communicate in a different way today. How many times do you see today a family sitting at a table and everyone, like if you go to a restaurant, this is a really good example. You go to a restaurant and there is a family coming, sitting down at the table, and everyone is with a mobile phone. There is no conversation going. So how those people find out about themselves is probably through Facebook postings that they put on the Facebook. This is what is happening. This is what we see. How many times do you see that on a daily basis? I was at the airport one day, and there was a mother and a daughter sitting next to each other. They didn't converse between themselves. because they were too busy looking at the Facebook pages. So we need to be able to adapt. We need to constantly learn, because the world is moving at such a fast pace today that if we stand still for a second, we are already way behind. The team. I will go a little bit deeper into it in a moment. The relationships, you already had an hour about relationships. I'm just going to add a little bit. And then about the success and about the money, the wealth and the riches that might be. Can anyone tell me what is in common with those people?
They are rich.
These people are all billionaires, okay? And do you know that in 2014 there was nearly 1,700 billionaires in the world, which is the highest ever figure, okay? Today, if you are talking about a millionaire, it's nothing to talk about, because there is so many of them. Today, the talk about is about people who have achieved billions. They are the talk of everyone, and everybody is trying to aspire to that. So how can you do that? How you can get there? Now, the other thing that really these people share is very important, because these people started from nothing. They didn't have millions in the bank. They didn't even have $10,000 in the bank when they started. In fact, Mr. Buffett, he was 64 before he actually achieved his success. The other thing that is very common among all of those people is the way their mindset is working, okay? There is 3 things which I will share with you shortly about those people that are very, very important, and we all should have this in our collection, should I say. Now, I have, in the basics, I have put few points. They are by no means all of the important points. I just put few to give you a feel of them. 100% responsibility and accountability. Why it is so important? There is a very old school, which is thousands of years old, and that's Hawaiian school, which says that we are all, doesn't matter who we are, where we are, what we do, we are all responsible for everything that is happening in our lives. And that means in our personal life, as well as in the life of people that are close to us. Now, this may sound very strange to people who are hearing this for the first time. But when you think about it is really true. Because would you agree with me that we tend to draw towards us people who are quite like ourselves? So, for instance, if we are entrepreneurs, we tend to draw and build relationships with people who have got success. Would you agree with that? We want to be surrounded by people who have succeeded in something. If we have, let's say, a big career in a corporate world, we surround ourselves with people who are from corporate world, isn't it? If we run a small business, we tend to surround ourselves with the small business entrepreneurs, and so on and so on. So this is the responsibility which we really should take. So we need to know what is happening around us. We need to be able to differentiate between things, and we need to be able to influence certain things. Because there is a saying, if you want something to change, you need to change yourself. You need to always start from yourself. If, let's say, you complain or you hear someone complaining about the way their standard of living is, and they are blaming somebody else, well, have a look. If I point finger at some